Show number 652 on this Tuesday, the 3rd of October, Julia. We are live again from Studio B at the Beach Street Yacht Club. I hope you had a nice weekend.
Sure.
Well, why not? You're not unhappy about the market crash today or the controversy in the House of Representatives over the Speaker of the House?
No.
Julie was on her computer the whole pre-show working on, I don't know what she was working on, moving her money around, God knows what else. Hi, everybody. Julia Veda-Kint, as you know, is our coordinating producer, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, my beloved landlady and co-host here with this show for now, going on 6 years? It's over 6 years now. In fact, as this is our 652nd show, welcome everybody. Featuring today the Bermuda Gold Cup. Looking forward to this, having you all with us and talking about the 71st edition of the Gold Cup. Those of you who are looking for a show on Friday, we were not here because I was up at the St. Francis Yacht Club Stag Cruise, the staggering cruise.
I know.
Why do you laugh?
Well, because it always is.
A staggering cruise. There were some staggerers around, too.
There were.
It is not just 4 days of bacchanalian, if that's a word, food and booze. It's also live speakers, VIP speakers, lighthouse guests, we call them. There's shows and entertainment and music. It's good fun. And that's why we had no show on Friday. I was up there producing a couple of the shows for the club for the last time. Julia,
yes, dear. I've heard that before.
I know, but it's just a lot of work. It's great fun and great group of guys that work on these. I mean, I had a cast and crew of 55 people. But look at the names who were on the lighthouse steps for the speakers. Bruno Finzi from Italy, who's the president of the head of the ORC, Offshore Racing Council. Stan Honey, you all know, is arguably the best navigator in the history of the world and great sailor himself. Bill Lee, the yacht designer, one of the most famous yacht designers in the modern era, the Santa Cruz 50, 52, and 70s. Cam Lewis, winner of the Finn Gold Cup at least once, the Laser, I think, Worlds. Olympian, winner of the America's Cup in 88 with Dennis Conner, round the world champion, record-setting offshore racer, and just a hell of a nice guy. It was great to see Cam. I hadn't seen him in a while. Mm-hmm. Justin Schaefer, who's been on this show, as has Stan, we're going to get Bruno Finzi on, by the way. But Justin Schaefer, who was with the Long Beach Yacht Club Stars Plus Stripes America. He was the CEO of that until it kind of came apart, not through really any fault of his own. But he was up there too, and interesting talks on any number of topics at the St. Francis Yacht Club Stag Cruise last Friday. Hence, no show. If you were looking for it, I apologize. We did put a few notes up here and there. Let's get to this day in history, because we're celebrating what you say. What we always say at the top of the show, what are we celebrating today? Well, it ties in with this day in history. The 3rd of October, Julia.
Yes.
1990. Do you know what happened on this day?
No.
Not so long ago.
I know.
Huh?
I know.
You want a clue?
Yes.
Here is a clue. You recognize that? On the 3rd of October, 1990, here's the lower third. Fireworks at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. People are checking in from all over the place.
That was the opening of the wall.
It was not.
It wasn't.
That had happened a little bit before, but you're
89.
close. Berlin Wall down. Ted Ryman is saying no. Graham Sweeney knows it's Berlin. Clark checking in from Summer Lake, Plymouth, Michigan. Wall came down. Nope, and nope. Are there any Germans on here?
Yeah.
Besides you, Julia, and your late great husband. Here's another clue. Now that is also on the 3rd of October, 1990. That's the Reichstag. That's the Parliament building, where my sister's late husband has painted the portrait of Chancellor Kohl. Talking about a little bit of a personal connection.
Yes.
3rd of October, 1995. Clark Chapin's got it. Ding, 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 ding. I need that little bell here, Julia. Clark's got it.
Oh, yeah.
The vote. Well, not quite the vote, Clark. The vote had happened before this. Andrew Pindar's got it. It was the reunification. David James has it. East Germany joined West Germany. Well, it's kind of the other way around, but Berlin becomes the unified capital. Actually, it was still in Bonn. The unified capital didn't happen till later on, but Phil Walker's got it. Alex Hayworth's got it. It was the reunification of Germany on this day in history, 3rd of October, 1990. And we are celebrating, therefore, Tag der Deutschen Einheit, which is German Unity Day, today. German Unity Day is celebrated on the 3rd of October as a public holiday. It commemorates German reunification in 1990 when the GDR, East Germany, joined the FRG, West Germany, so that for the first time since 1945, there existed a single German state. German Unity Day on the 3rd of October has been the German national holiday since 1990, when it all happened, and was formally completed. It took some years, excuse me, it took some years before that. I mean, the wall, what year did the wall come down?
Oh, in 89, I think so.
Was it just the year before? I remember my sister has a piece of the wall. A lot of you on here probably have a piece of the wall.
Yes.
And then, of course, my wife and I and Meg moved to Germany in 97. And then the euro replaced the Deutschmark, and we then were by then taxed.
Yeah.
All the West Germans were taxed to pay for bringing East Germany up to speed.
Oh, there were, lots of problems with that, but it was necessary.
Well, I guess it was. And I guess big picture long term was good. Today, that is
the Brandenburg Gate.
Exactly. Julia, who knows all this stuff. That is the national symbol, of course, of present-day Germany, the modern Brandenburg Gate. And here's a nice little video. It's from the ambassador to the U.S., celebrating not only this day of unity in Germany, but also the connection with the U.S., which is, it's a little U.S.-centric for this show, but I thought it's nice anyway. Because you forget how close we have been, at least since World War II, to Germany. So have a look at this.
3 decades ago, Germany became a united country again. The Second World War left Germany divided. Thankfully, the peaceful revolution of the people of East Germany brought down the Berlin Wall. It was a pivotal milestone in the march towards the end of the Cold War. This would not have been possible without the steadfast support of one of our key allies, the United States of America.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
So, today, as we celebrate German unity, we want to thank the US for being not just a partner, but also a true friend in the past, present, and into the future. Our bond is built on shared values and common purpose. Each and every day, Germans and Americans, leaders, soldiers, scientists, business people, students, and other people from all walks of life show that we are stronger together.
Okay,
From
as
all Germans at home and abroad,
Emily
we
Haber.
thank you for your friendship, and we invite you to join us in celebrating our Day of German Unity.
I didn't mean to step on her, and I don't even know if she's still the ambassador, celebrating Wunderbar together.
Yes.
This nice sentiment. Who was it? Clark Chapin had a funny comment. Joe Holtzman said, Deutschland über alles, overall. And look who they omitted. Yeah, okay. Clark. Well, maybe they did omit him. And I think that video may have been from a year or two ago. Stingray, maybe we can tear down the Mexico wall next. Oh, gosh. It's only 2 years until Germany will win the 2025 Admirals Cup. Now, there's a prediction from Alex Hayworth. But how about Clark Chapin's comment, Julia, about your comment? Oh, my God, a conservative that has conceded that a tax was necessary.
Oh,
You said, that was necessary. I was paying it. You weren't paying it.
oh, but I knew 1,000 people in Germany were and weren't very happy about it.
Exactly. Hello, Fozy from sunny, warm Cleveland. Julie Aarons is saying it must be nice in the upper Midwest today. And again, a warm welcome to all of you, wherever in the world you are, as we celebrate the started yesterday actually, of the 71st Bermuda Gold Cup with fully 16 top teams, not 8 teams or 12 teams, but 16 teams. And we're going to talk about that in a moment after we get through John Emmett's report. Interesting stuff from John as usual today. John Emmett, the coach's corner, super Fozy that he is. And here is the guy's so dedicated and so good. He did a report for Friday's show, knowing full well we weren't going to have a show on Friday. He did the report anyway, and it was so good I thought we'd run it today. Here it is.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. And today was meant to be a really exciting roundup of the Asian Games, or at least from the sailing point of view. And well, you could probably guess what happened or what didn't happen. No medal racing for the Ilkas, indeed no sailing at all on that final day because of lack of wind. And as Tom would say, everyone talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. But that is the thing with our sport, and we're so lucky that pretty much every day is completely different, even if the variable is small. You know, the waves were slightly different, the current was slightly later, the wind was slightly stronger, slightly to the left, slightly to the right. It's not like we're going to be running around a grass track that's exactly the same every single day. So really pleased that sailing is such an interesting sport, and I think that probably helps us keep away from burnout. So that's one of the reasons sailors can have very long lives. Although I think changing classes is a good thing, because you can learn and it keeps enthusiasm, and as your body type size, you know, whether it's Optimist, Ilka 4, Ilka 7, you know, you're going to progress. But yeah, no racing final day in Asia, so I can't talk too much about that, because I think following these regional games and the Olympic qualification process is a really important thing. And you know, as I said, some people, a life-changing experience. I was very happy with the people who qualified. In fact, I'm glad they didn't do a bad race or an unfair race just to get the racing in. So yeah, congratulations to Ryan from Singapore, Shazrin from Malaysia. Actually, both of the sailors I know very well, because I worked as technical director for Singapore when they hosted the Southeast Asian Games, and I worked as technical director for Malaysia as they were hosting the Southeast Asian Games. So you may spot a bit of a trend going on there, but both those sailors did very well, and I actually said to Lily that I believe those were sailors who win well before the championship started. And this is the thing about performance. It takes time. A lot of people talk about motivation, but it's discipline and consistent training. And that's why getting ill or injured is such a bad thing. I mean, personally, I missed around 2 years, I guess, of proper training in the pandemic and that sort of, we couldn't get to gym. I think I lost a bit of strength with core, and I think that's why I tore my core and damaged my hip, something I'm still recovering from. So this consistency is very important, and that means it's like a container ship. In terms of performance, it takes a very long time to speed up or slow down or change direction. And that's why at the last World Championships, with a couple of exceptions, there was a young Italian girl who did well, and there was a young Kiwi who also did well. But most of the sailors were 28, 30, 32, who were right at the front of the fleet, because sailing is a sport that rewards experience. So this idea of the container ship that takes a long time to go fast or a long time to slow up, and even longer to change directions if you've gone the wrong way, thinking a little bit about the technical development of the America's Cup here. But that lag means that, you know, with less than a year to go to Olympic Games, and it's definitely less than a year to go to Olympic Games now, we already have a really good idea who the top performers will be. I mean, maybe not the exact medal order, but certainly the people who are very likely to be in the medal race. So for those teams, nations, M&As who are trying to make last minute changes, whatever those changes are, I mean, I would argue it's already too late. You know, there will be some people who will have a very rapid rise, although perhaps that will be pretty obvious that with those individuals, like Ben Ainsley's rise in the fin was obviously very quick, but you look at his background. For some people, it may take them longer to get to the top, but when you get to those high pressure games, just really no surprises. So yeah, if you're trying to make a fundamental change, find that golden ticket, a year before games, it's probably already too late. And it's the people who work hard and in some respects keep it safe who are gonna do well, because you're more likely to lose Olympic Games than win it, whether that's illness, injury. So it's about the conservative approach and being consistent, and then both on and off the water, it's about controlled aggression, because you do need in life to fight for what you really want. I mean, sadly, in nearly all contexts that the strong take advantage of the weak or whatever. So you do need that controlled aggression, where it's maintaining a position on the start line or something a bit more bigger picture, but it's controlled. And we do see some people, if they lose that control, that definitely doesn't help performance, and that's also about making sailing a fun sport. So even at club level, the rules really have to apply, otherwise it's like two people walking together on the corridor. If there isn't the rule that you walk on the left, eventually they walk into each other. But the rules are there to keep sailing a non-contact sport. So we all want to go to the bar after sailing, not be putting gel coat on our boats or paying somebody to do it. And that's what we need to obey by, and with young sailors looking at the rules and respecting the rules, it's a really important thing. The Olympic Games, and these sort of high level events like at The Hague, there's a lot of protest because there's a lot at stake. But I'll say again now, I think we're really on the road now. Final countdown to Olympic Games. I just can't wait. It's such a magical thing. And I'll try and give coverage about the Pan Am Games and the next few people to qualify. It's exciting times, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's his report from last Friday. And of course, we didn't have the show on Friday. He put it up on Facebook, and I'll put it up on YouTube as well. But what controlled aggression, Julia? That sounds like you.
Yes.
She comes down here. Do that look again.
Yes.
Julia, controlled aggression. She was beavering away this before on some, I don't know, moving money around from here and there. She's worried about the market. And is that right?
Yes.
How much gel coat did the Canadian Sail GP team go through, Jonathan? Right, Jonathan? See you on here. Yeah, that's, that was something else. There's Kitson saying, Jeff is saying, replying to Gordon Smith, they're back and forth about cleaning up and squirrels in the fall. And Mark Curtis, wait, what? Doesn't everyone walk to the right?
I heard that too. That stay to the left. Oh, no.
Is John a container ship's captain in between flying all over the place? I don't know, Stingray. That's a good question. Good question. Gordon Smith's got a pithy comment. Ryman likes his beard. You like John's beard? I mean, he goes from clean shaven to bearded in about, it's been a week, I guess. What else? Anything else here in the comments? Only 2 years until, okay, we got back that far. So thanks, John, for that nice report.
Yes.
Now, we've been talking about, and John talked about the Asian Games, which have wrapped up in Hangzhou, the sailing at least part. And the Day 7 highlights came out just before we went to air. So we did manage to get Lily Zhu's report. And I texting with John this morning, asking if Lily's back home in Weymouth. She's not. She's over at the main site doing nonstop TV work on other sports for CNT, or Chinese National TV, and whomever else. So here's her report from today. Yeah, a couple days ago, actually.
Final day of the sailing events for Hangzhou Asia Games. Which nations won the precious sixth Olympic entry? Malaysia's Shadri is the overall winner in the ILCA 6 fleet, meaning she'll go to the Olympics a third time in Paris. Singapore's Ryan is the overall leader in the ILCA 7th fleet and ultimately getting his second Olympic spot.
It feels really great. Very happy right now, and big relief for me to be able to get a spot for the country for the next Olympics. And I'm just really pleased with the week I've sailed. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not enough wind for the IQ foil fleet, so the overnight leader Bi Kun from China has secured an Olympic spot for his nation. Hong Kong's Chen, who's second overall in the women's fleet, will make his first appearance in the Olympics next year.
Super relief, and I'm so happy that everything goes smoothly and sailing fastly. Yeah.
In the Formula Kites fleet, it is Thailand's Gentleman and Western who managed to secure the Olympic entry. And that put an end to our Asia Games Hangzhou, and I hope you enjoy our videos. There are many Olympic qualifications in the coming month, so do keep following World Sailing on all social media platforms.
Bravo, Zulu. Bravo, Zulu to Lily. She's getting better by the week, by the month, by the, maybe not the day, but what fantastic work she's doing for World Sailing and apparently lots of other people. Maybe she can take over this show in due course.
What a good idea.
With her. Now back to John. Now today's report that he filed this morning, you can see in the background, you see what he's, you recognize that, Julia? It's a skate park.
Uh-huh.
So I texted John, I said, hey, you know, what skate park is that? And because there are fully 5 skate parks in and around Weymouth. And it looked to me like he was down at the front skate park there, the one that is on the beach. You know, I thought, maybe that's not very well lit. I thought he was maybe there.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out he's not there. He's at the Marsh Skate Park. And does that make any difference? No, really not. But, you know, we got to show you these things. The Marsh Skate Park, one of 5 in Weymouth, and maybe John can tell us in the comments why skating is so popular. Maybe just it's a holiday destination, it's a outdoor destination for a lot of the Brits. And I asked John if he's a skateboarder, and he said, no, I don't skate, and neither does, meaning skateboarding, and neither does Lily, but Martin, the team Finnish meteorologist, did and brought his board to the games. I assume he means Tokyo. So, of course, Tom had to go off on a tangent and check this all out. Who is Martin, the Finnish team meteorologist for the sailing team? And he's a well-recognized meteorologist, not just for sailing, but he's also a well-recognized skateboarder. So Martin Gomberg from Finland, Olympic sailing team meteorologist, we feature him and his skating. Even we're after the urban market, the youth market. We got to, you know, get younger people on the show instead of all you old farts who watch it, and of course the old farts who produce it and host it. But wait, there's more. That was a 2019 video of Martin skating in Marseille.
Oh, why?
So apparently, went in between racing and whatever else, he takes to skate wherever venue he is in.
Right.
And watch this. He also skates in the winter. Presumably in Finland. Never seen this. Skateboarding Illustrated. No, the truth is I didn't play that just because there was a hockey player and a figure skater background.
But it was considerate.
Martin Gomberg, Finland, the Olympic sailing team meteorologist, skateboarding enthusiast. Now here is John's regular report for today.
Hi Tom, Julia and all the Fozy. You join me again in Weymouth, and I cannot tell a lie. It's definitely not sunny Weymouth, and it does feel like winter's on its way, and that means the cycle is about to begin again. In fact, this month, October, we have the qualification system in the UK, and I'm a big supporter of that. It also means that the very best sailors in the world, the top British sailors, will be racing against people who are brand new to class. So it's a really exciting time. And we actually have some initiatives for female sailors, and I'll talk more about that after the event, see how that goes. But yeah, onwards and upwards. So today in the coaching corner, I think it's very important to think about having a plan. And we have all these acronyms: failure to plan is planning to fail. But the reason we have them is because they are so true. And this long-term thinking, it's really such an important thing. And I think as you get older, you probably realise it more, because hopefully, and I know I do, we all learn from our mistakes. But what I was trying to talk to you about today was KISS. So I'm just waiting to see how Tom's going to sell the show. Johnny wants to give everyone a kiss or something. I don't know. But the fact is, we need to keep it simple, stupid. Not very nice to call someone stupid, but I mean, that's a really good way of helping people remember things. In fact, we had a bit of thing about swearing and whether you're swearing on the race course, the rest of it. Research shows actually people tend to be more honest because they express their feelings, but it goes back to what I said in the last show with the 3 C's and the controlled aggression. So maybe you just swear in your head. I know Lily occasionally on a windy day used to shout at herself encouragement in Chinese, which probably scared some of her competitors around. But keeping it simple, stupid, and that is, you know, to win a race or to win an Olympic cycle, you have to do the most important things well, the simple things, the getting it right. You know, don't be over the start line, don't be a long way behind the start line, you know, don't overstand the lay lines. All these very measurable things, don't sit in dirty air. We can do them, and we have that plan. And the problem is, I think it was a boxing analogy, you know, everyone has a plan until they get hit. And if you end up with a bad situation, so you have a bad start or rule infringement, or whether that's rule 18, rule 42, being over start line, and suddenly the whole plan goes out the window because something you weren't expecting happens. So yeah, that idea of staying the course and just trying to keep it as simple as possible. We do quite a lot of testing. In fact, ILCA is probably the class where you do the least testing, being one design and all that. But there are differences, minor differences, but differences between manufacturers of sails, hulls, etc. So I think that idea when you do testing is you keep it really simple. You only change one variable at a time. But it just goes back to what I was saying on previous shows. You know, people are looking for the magic pill, the thing that's going to make it all better. It's not that. It's marginal gains, and it's lots and lots of little things, and it's about being consistent. And the best example of that is, of course, the gym. And I would suggest to people this off season, it's a really good opportunity to get that gym work done, and to do it in, you know, a careful way. So you make the most of the situation. You do the work that you find hard to do when you're away from home. I mean, you can always do, you know, core work or whatever. For example, I can't do press-ups because of my wrist injury. I'm still waiting to see results of x-rays and stuff on that. But there's equipment in the gym when I'm here in Weymouth that I can use. So I really take advantage of that. And it is this consistency. You can't go and spend, I don't know, I'm exaggerating here, but 24 hours in the gym one day and that's you done for a month. You need to spend 1 hour in the gym for 24 days in the month. And that rest section is really important. So for those people making a plan, keep it simple. And first things first, make sure that you get the most important things right. And that's normally my role as a coach, to try and highlight that. So today, pressure is king. Today, it's all about the shift. Today, we need to be very aware of the currents. So that's sometimes venue specific, it's sometimes day specific, but it's all about planning and thinking ahead. Looking forward to joining you all on the show. If you haven't already, please do share so all your friends can see it, and like, subscribe. You know the drill. See you soon.
Nice report,
Yes,
as always.
as
right?
always.
And it's so true. I mean, you just think about this silly show we do, because we improve it incrementally. We make little, you know, steps forward, and you do that consistently, and then keep at doing that consistently, and then make a little incremental improvement and work on that. And the whole thing about planning is so true. Sailors, my experience, Julie, is that sailors tend to wing it.
Yep.
I mean, you go up to the stackers and these shows I'm putting on, and sailors, oh yeah, I'll learn my lines that morning, and then we'll go out on stage and everything will be fine. And
Yeah.
sailors, because I think the nature of our sport is go out, have a plan, but then be ready to adapt to the
Be
wind
flexible,
shift, to adapt to the changing conditions. Or
Right.
you think the left is favored and suddenly the whole fleet goes right. Are you really going to still go left? Or are you going to try to stay to the left of the fleet? And because of that, I think sailors in general are pretty good drivers. Apparently, statistically, I'm told, are pretty good drivers on the road because we have situational awareness and and make quick changing decisions. And same on the water. Obviously, sailors have to be, as Buddy Melgus once famously said, get your head out of your cockpit. It's not what he said, but that's what we all translated it to. Get your head out of your ass, look up the course, see what's coming, and be ready to change your plan based on what you're seeing in and around you. So good stuff. And you see a lot of people. Larry Kennedy is is in New York and Manhattan, but David James making the comment that the famous German general Erwin Rommel said, "No plan survives contact with the enemy." Indeed. And who was it? The Chinese general Sun Tzu? Was he a general? What was he? But he said, "You've lost or won the battle before it even starts." And the plan has to be right, but then you have to be ready. You can't be like the Soviet army was, which got a plan and never change it. Right. And I think that is true of our sport, and I think it's true of life. Right. You agree?
Yes.
What were you changing? Give us your stock tips this morning. You're adjusting your cash balance, your gold balance. You don't want to talk about that. Huh? No, give us some stock tips. This can be Stock Tips Illustrated.
Everybody's worried about a huge whiplash coming instantly.
Larry Kennedy, yes, funny comment about good drivers. Have you watched Oak Cliff Match Racing? I'm talking about drivers on the road. Okay, John Emmett, thank you. John Emmett, sailing Get to the Front of the Fleet. We really appreciate his regular reportage. Before we get to the Bermuda Gold Cup, and I'm just texting back and forth with James Pleasance, who, by the way, is going to be our live guest from Bermuda, from Hamilton, on Friday with an update. And we'll tell you this in a minute, who's doing what down there, because this is the first day of racing, or yesterday was the first day of racing. Maybe it was practice. Maybe today is actually the first day of racing. We'll get to that in a second. We got a lot of you have been in the comments talking about SailGP. Well, the move of the construction facility from Warkworth down in New Zealand to Southampton. Fill you in on that in a moment. But SailGP has had, despite, it's the month between events. The next event is in Cadiz in 2 weeks. And SailGP a couple days ago announced the Canadian venue. We all thought there would be, hoped there would be a venue, but in June of 2024, the 1st and the 2nd of June, SailGP will have a Canadian Grand Prix in, drumroll please.
Yes.
Halifax.
In Halifax?
Halifax, Nova Scotia. Not in Toronto. And of course, Toronto's not reliably windy, so maybe Russell's getting right. Not in Vancouver or Victoria, or not on the lakes out in Saskatchewan or Alberta or something, but in Halifax. And it looks like Rockwool is sponsoring a number of these events. The Danish company that's sponsoring that team is also sponsoring, they sponsored last week's event in France, and they've, I guess, in absence of a Danish event, they are sponsoring also now the Canadian event. Rockwool is. They also, that is SailGP, also announced the Middle Eastern venue, which had so far been listed on all the charts as TBD or TBA, to be announced. And they've announced that venue, which is in December, and here 'tis.
Pretty wild on that boat.
Dubai, the 9th and 10th of December this year. And again, Dubai has hosted any number of events. I've sailed there. I've judged there a couple times. The Hobie Worlds. I think I chaired the jury at the Hobie Worlds way back when. We had a world sailing, one of these world championships of all the various classes, the Olympic classes back in the day, at the Dubai International Marine Club. And we were all given a dish dasher, the white Arab dress and the hat. I still have 2 of them, and wear them to Halloween parties or something. Is that a cultural approbation?
Yes.
Is it okay?
I
remember wearing it to a Halloween party in Michigan. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And And I showed up, and this is when, this is, I guess, before 9/11. But I wore it, and the only question was, what do you wear underneath it? What are you wearing? A gentleman never tells.
Never.
9th and 10th of December, 2023, Sail GP, sponsored by Emirates, Dubai, of course. Sail Grand Prix there in December. So that'll be interesting. Now, speaking of Warkworth and this Sail GP Technologies, which started out with the core composites was the original aim. I actually helped set that up back in 2000. I think it was 1 or 2. We set that up to have a facility to build our boats for Larry Ellison. Rocket Lab USA, Inc., a global leader in launch and space systems that was announced either yesterday or even today, has acquired Sail GP Technologies' world-class manufacturing complex in Warkworth, which is up north of Auckland, and bolstering the company's New Zealand business and retaining more than 90% of the Sail GP Technologies NZ-based staff. Sail GP Tech is relocating its operations to the UK to more effectively support the growing league, which makes a lot of sense given, the Kiwi wing that collapsed and some of the other problems. Most of the stuff now is in the Northern Hemisphere, in Europe, or even in the U.S. Now we got another event in the U.S. with Canada coming on. And so I think it makes a lot of sense. This is a little confusing because, as I understand it, they're leasing the facility. They're buying the company, but leasing the facility there in Warkworth. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but several of you, I think Rob Fry has a pretty good handle on this. The article, the press release goes on to say Sail GP Tech has been a close partner and supplier to Rocket Lab heretofore, providing selected advanced composite materials and components for the Electron rocket. From this week, Rocket Lab, who pioneered the use of carbon composites in space by developing the world's first carbon composite orbital rocket, will lease Sail GP Technology 70,000 square foot development and manufacturing complex in Warkworth. Founded in 2001 as Core Composites, CBC, the Warkworth facility has in recent years become heavily focused on building and maintaining, Larry owns this, or had owned it, and maintaining the cutting-edge F-50 catamarans used in Sail GP's Global Racing League, one of the world's fastest-growing sports leagues, which accounts for around 80% of its work, or had anyway. With 85% of Sail GP events being staged in the Northern Hemisphere now, growing from 5 to 13 events since its inaugural season. This is season 4, of course. The league will relocate its manufacturing facility to, another drum roll, as several of you suggested, to Southampton, near Sail GP's global headquarters in London. Sail GP Technologies will transition its operations to the south coast of England from November this year, with the aim of being fully operational by April of 2024. So, any other comments on that before we move ahead? A lot of comments before that news. Before we went with that, replying to Sean Hogan or bite there. What's that mean? I'm going to go up and read down
because they're talking about Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until I punched him in the head.
Okay, we'll go out. Yeah, let's go. Hello, everyone. Jock Laura. There's a new name. Jock Laura. Hello. I was wondering, what is it? Is this a Dr. James? I saw. This looks like a Julia. You may have to. This look, Doctor. Yeah, this is a spam. This is an advert. I love Sail GP. John Emmett is saying, indeed. Graham Sweeney, if you've got it, spend it. You can't take it with you or donate it to Sailing Illustrated. What a great idea!
Yeah,
you would support that, wouldn't you, Julia?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Graham. By the way, Graham, there put in the comments. I saw a video from Graham. Some classic. I guess it's a watering hole or a restaurant up in Shetland, up in Yell. Caught fire overnight, a horrific fire, some place of long standing repute. I didn't quite understand that, Graham, or I would have put it in the show. There's Patrick Dyer, who's in County Durham in England. Hello, Patrick. Gordon Smith, I guessed Halifax. Yes, you did last week. Hence my factoid about the enormous explosion in Halifax Harbor. I think
yes.
means an explosion in terms of business, right? In action. Is that what you meant, Gordon? Sean Hogan, Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until I punch them in the head. That's what that was about.
Yeah.
Sail GP Dubai must be the week after ACWS. Yes, it is. Indeed. The wind blows high and the wind blows low, Jonathan Frank. Yeah, okay. Or bite their ear off. That's... Pedro, hello, Peter Stevenson. Pedro Foiling Sailor. Hi, I'll just finished walk off to breakfast. After breakfast, we'll have to watch and replay. Oh, now he's off to walk. He's going off to do his after breakfast walk. Enjoy the day. And to you, Peter Stevenson. Thank you. Send me come on, Peter. We need a Peter's personal perspective. We enjoy those. I haven't had one in a while. Gordon Smith, there's an interesting point. Maybe explains the difficulty in getting a new wing sail for New Zealand because they're in transition with that building facility. Antigua, it was Cloggies in Antigua, not Cloggies up near Graham Sweeney. Okay, Cloggies Antigua. Everybody totally burned out, so everybody knows that place. Jonathan Frank Donald, where's your okay. So that's the Sail GP news, except we wanted to check in with Jimmy and see what was going on because there's been a lot of comment about Hans Henken, who is just a hell of a nice guy, SoCal. And he was the gentleman, he was a sailor, the athlete who was injured in this last event and was in hospital not for 1 or 2 days, but for 3, maybe 4 days. And there was discussion about whether it was got a clunk on the head or what I was hearing that remember we were talking about drowning on the show a week ago?
Right.
And you can have a partial drowning or you can, I guess, technically drown but not die. And he must have ingested a lot of water.
Yeah, we thought that.
And then there's I haven't seen it lately, but I remember that there's Clark Chapin will remember there's a difference between drowning in salt water or in fresh water. What the absorption in your lungs is and does. That's an interesting comment or discussion perhaps for another time. But good news is that Hans Henken is okay. He's out of hospital. And Jimmy Spithill, in a press release in the last couple of days, has reflected on Taranto, calling it the team's toughest event and looked ahead to the prospect of competing without flight controller Hans Henken in Cadiz. Henken was injured, as you all remember, we've just been discussing, in Taranto's third fleet race when the US F-50 spectacularly nosedived during a maneuver. He is now out of hospital and recovering, but won't be able to rejoin the U.S. crew lineup for next month's Spain Sail GP. Photo of Jimmy's boat, Jimmy's team. And while the former, and we had talked about this last Tuesday as well, trying to figure out if Taylor was in fact on the boat, because we knew he was going to fill in. But several of you said he did not sail because they were down to the 4-person configuration. So while Taylor Canfield was announced as a replacement flight controller on day 2 in Taranto, the light winds meant teams raced in a 4-person crew configuration, meaning Canfield did not compete. Spithill added the American crew feel quite competitive when we're 4 up. No doubt about it. Looking ahead, Jimmy said the team now has to, quote, deal with losing Hans for the next event. We need to go back. It's going to be a bit of a reset, he said. After Toronto, the U.S. sit in 6th, just 1 point behind NZ in 5th. And, of course, they've been getting points, redress points for that collapse of their wing. The F-50 fleet will next meet at the Spanish Sail Grand Prix in Cadiz in 2 weeks' time, October 14th and 15th. Here are the standings. Australia with that comfortable lead, although it's early days, really. And Ben, on the strength of his 2 wins, Sir Ben Ainsley's won the last 2 events with Emirates GBR. And Diego Botín, as any number of you predicted, he would be strong and he'd be good coming out of the 49er class and a few other foiling type boats. They're in 3rd, and Nikolai Sehested making Gordon Smith happy, the Danish team, in 4th, and on down from there. I got down there and not quite basso profundo land, Julia, but what are the comments? Fishbag, hey, he's in the Gulf of Maine. What are you doing up there, Tom? Nice to see you on. Oh, it was a blast. They're talking about an explosion in Halifax. When was this?
I remember that, and I didn't follow up on the cause.
John Emmett Sailor, secondary drowning can occur with salt water. Okay, well, we'll have to take that up at some point. Destroyed most of the town. Oh, this was a real blast. 1917. There it is. Gordon Smith's got it. In 1917, 6th of December, an munitions ship exploded in Halifax Harbor. At least 1,700, almost 1,800 people were killed. Wow. Wow. Okay, well, you learn something new on Sailing Illustrated.
Absolutely.
Every day. This next event for Sail GP coming up the 14th, 15th of October in Andalusia and Cadiz in Spain, which is normally reliably windy. A bit of a sea breeze there. Shall we move ahead, Julia, to the Gold Cup, the 71st running of the Bermuda Gold Cup, yesterday through the 7th through this weekend. And this fantastic, beautiful old trophy.
Yes. Do we know the history of that?
It's funny you should ask, Julia.
On cue.
Huh? Now we did not plan that. That segue was not something we rehearsed. Thank you, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
The King Edward VII Gold Cup is the oldest match racing trophy got to have a caveat, involving one design yachts. It is a highly prestigious trophy with a rich tradition. It was the only King's Cup ever to be offered for competition in the U.S., which could be won outright. That trophy goes back a long time. In fact, it was given in 1907 by the then King Edward VII for the tricentenary, looks like centenary regatta would be, regatta at Jamestown, Virginia. The regatta was held in commemoration of the 300th anniversary of the first permanent colony in America. The trophy was won by C. Sherman Hoyt sailing his Q yacht, Capsicum. Now, you know what a Q yacht is? Remember, there's the two formulations. There's the meter boat rule. There's several others.
Yeah.
But back in the day, there was the meter boat rule, which had the formula, and that resulted in 5.5, 6s, 8s, 10s, 12s, even I think 14s, according to that formula. Well,
right.
There was also a letter boat rule that produced the J boats.
Uh-huh.
And then those of you in the Great Lakes know about the R boat. There's a few of those still around in the Great Lakes, and the Q boat, and maybe some others that escape my limited and failing memory is getting older. But that's the history of that trophy. Now, this year's event, Bravo Zulu to James Pleasance, who, as I mentioned, will be with us on Friday live from Bermuda. Fully 16 top sailors. You've got Harry Price, of course, who's a Fozy. He's been on the show any number of times from Australia. Jeppe Borsch from Denmark. Dave Hood from the U.S. Eric, I'm doing this from memory, so if I'm messing these up, please correct me. Eric Monine from France. Taylor Canfield from the U.S., Virgin Islands, the U.S., now living in, I think it's still in Miami. Jeffrey Peterson.
Wow.
JP, who has won the Gov Cup twice. He's there racing when he should be in school in Georgetown. I know his mom is probably watching. Yanni Berenson, who's won, he's leading, by the way, after today. James told me he's leading his round robin. And Peter Holtz, who's from Chicago, another American. So that's a good group in and of itself. And then listen to this. Pauline Courtois from France, Julia, who you know, winning the World Women's Match Racing event here in San Francisco a couple years ago. And Anna Ostling, also doing very well. And there, Ian Williams, he's been on the show. Nick Egnott Johnson's been on the show.
Yep.
Celia Willison from New Zealand. Nick EJ is, of course, from New Zealand. Ian Williams from the UK. Anna from Sweden. And then Chris Poole from the U.S., who has got the hot hand right now. He's doing very well in just about every event he touches. And then Joshua Greenslade was a new name for me, and he is from Bermuda.
Oh,
So
good.
they've added him in. And finally, that last slot, and if James, if you're watching, you'll be pleased that I updated your graphic with Gavin Brady.
Aha.
By putting him in there, I even managed to get the, the title vertical over there on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin's there, and of course, Gavin, one of the best match racers in the modern history of the world. So this is quite an event. They've got 2 pools of 8 teams, and one of those top people is Chris Poole, current U.S. match racing champion. Anna Usling, who we were just discussing, who has just won the women's match racing tour that we were talking about, the World Match Racing Tour, and she's the champ there with her team Wings. We covered her 3 shows ago after their win. And then, of course, Pauline Courtois from France, 3-time World Match Racing World Champ. Terrific sailor that she is. And also the winners from the this event, last time it was run because of COVID and everything else, and some sponsors coming in and out. But the last time this event was run was 2020. And you talk about as we say in the Midwest in Michigan, a barn burner between Taylor and Ian. And it was full of penalties, full of shouting, it was a terrific match in 2020. Taylor defeating Ian Williams, and they're both racing again in this.
Oh, that'll be good to watch.
Event.
Yeah.
Now, here's a quote from Ian. The Gold Cup is such an iconic regatta on the World Match Racing Tour. It is really important. It is a really important event to have on the tour. So it's great. I think everybody's happy it's back, to say nothing of it being reliably windy. Reliably windy. And iconically beautiful.
Oh, yes, of
You've got to
course.
admit, Bermuda's beautiful. It is special for me, the quote continues, Ian is saying, Ian Williams, as it was the first WMRT regatta that I won way back, the old man that he is, in 2006. He's a lawyer, a bear. Although since then, I do not have the best record there in Bermuda. The boats are a challenge for us with the way we are set up, but I guess that means the configuration of his team. Maybe they're a little light. But that won't stop us trying as hard as we can to get as far in the competition as we can. Jonathan Frank I predict liberal amounts of gel coat will have to be applied by the time this one is over. Now, Julia.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who the greatest of all time Bermuda Gold Cup winners? I should have done this as a question and answer, as a multiple guess. Was it Russell Coots? We'll do this alphabetically. Peter Gilmore or Taylor Canfield? The GOAT. Here's your first and only clue. You see the second from the left in the shadow of his cap?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Who
that is? RC.
Yeah, it is.
That is Russell. I call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time, at least when it comes to Bermuda, if not other things. 7 wins between 1990 and 04. So we'll see if anybody ever comes close to that record. But, that's pretty dominant.
Oh, it is. It's great.
And of course, that's when he was also winning the America's Cup in 95.
Yes.
And 2000. And then in 03, had 3 in a row. And there's Gordon Smith saying there's Rasmus Kostner, Denmark, on the left. That's nice. Yeah, Canfield's got Bill is so smart. Bill Canfield says, yeah, Coots 8 times, Taylor 3 times. And a lot of others chiming in. How smart our group is.
Yes, indeed.
Larry Kennedy saying Team Anna is wonderful. They used to stay with us in our old house, as well as Eric Monine. One year we left back door unlocked. The Holtz's team from Chicago snuck in. Larry Kennedy. Yeah, he is such a big help. He's another one of these spark plugs that helps it. They're all around the Northeast, but at Oak Cliff and beyond. Q Yacht, did it not have 5-pound guns? Jonathan Frank. Okay. Who else? What else? Someone brought all that speed skill to 6-knot. Yeah, exactly. Fog machine, 6-knot IODs. And the racing is superb because the racing in traditional boats, we can all follow it. We see spinnakers going up and down. It's great stuff. Rasmus is with the Danish Rockwool Sail GP team now. Okay, Gordon Smith, thank you for all that. So that's Russell, the GOAT. 7 wins. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great.
And with us live on Friday from Bermuda, and he'll
James.
probably bring a sailor along with him if they're in off the water in time. That's 1 o'clock here is 4 o'clock in Bermuda, so they may or may not be off the water. But James has promised to come live and update us. The esteemed World Match Racing Tour Executive Director, with whom I have been texting when we were in various little videos, and he thought he was coming on today. He texted me just before the show, Julie. He said, "Am I coming on live today?" And I said, "No, that's Friday." He said, "Okay." I talked with him early this morning. Too many dark and stormies. Speaking of which, it looks like, he says, we may have a tropical storm on Friday, so might be a good time to update. So they may be not even on the water, let alone off the water early. So James, thank you for that. And he says the previous 2-time winner of the Gold Cup, Yanni Berenson from Sweden, is leading the round robin unbeaten at 4-0 today. So he's hopefully going to bring somebody on with him. He gave me the thumbs up to that suggestion, and I appreciate having James on yet again this coming Friday. Reporting.
He's done such a good job with that whole category.
Got it going, and then he sold it, and then it started to not do so well, and he bought it back, and he's kind of wired it back together with baling wire and a few other things. And now he's added the women's tour. So bless his heart, and we will be delighted to have him on to talk about the Gold Cup this Friday. Denise Peterson is telling us that Jeff's only 21, remember. We won the Gulf Cup again this summer, so that's his second win in the Gulf Cup. And we'll see how he does. He's also kind of on a bit of a streak here, and I don't think he said, Denise, has he sailed in this before, in the Gold Cup, skipper or crew? You can't sail a foiling boat by the lee. Look at that. He's talking about this picture. I don't know how by the lee they are, if that's just the big yaw to windward. Those boats are famous for, the IOTs are famous for rocking and rolling downhill in a breeze, especially in a seaway. David James, thank you for that comment. Nice pictures. So, again, reliably windy and iconically beautiful, right, Julia?
Right.
Why don't we run all of our events in such venues?
We should.
Follow the money, that's why. We're getting event fees from wherever they get them. Now I'm delighted to have this update from Alistair, who continues to fill us in on what has happened, what was happening last week on the 40th anniversary of that fabulous win by, not everybody thinks, some New York Yacht Club people probably not so happy about it.
No.
But it was an amazing win in 1983, of course, Australia 2, defeating Liberty in the New York Yacht Club, Dennis Conner 4-3, John Bertrand skippering. And that entire team, we were asking whether you knew it or not, or whether we knew it or not, and that entire sailing team is still alive. Alan Bond is gone. Warren Jones, the late, great Warren Jones, who was the executive director, has passed away. In fact, guys, I think I mentioned Dyer Jones and I went to his funeral. Sometime during the Cup, so that was back in the early part of this, 2000, 2003. Alistair's filed this report, the awesome Aussie anecdote, and they had a fabulous occasion down there, as you saw from his Alistair's report, which we ran last Tuesday.
Right.
And then they had a big dinner at the Royal Perth Yacht Club in a tent, as you can see, a big turnout. I think he said 400 of my best friends for this one. And then he filed this video report, and then we have some photos afterwards.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. Sorry it's taken me a little bit long to get back on the Australia 2 celebration with some more details, but I've been a bit busy this week, had a bit on, and haven't got around to it. I just watched last week's show. Fabulous show, thanks, Tom and Julia. And I've got a few responses to some things that came up during the show, and I thought it might be timely and interesting, even though the America's Cup celebration down here is perhaps old news already. One thing I wanted to mention straight up is that I thought you did a brilliant review of the contender class, and there was a lot of very positive comments. One very, very significant detail that was left out, and I thought perhaps John Emmett might have picked up on this, is that you were doing that on the 40th anniversary of the America's Cup victory by the boat designed by Ben Lexon. Well, the contender was also designed by Ben Lexon. He was Bob Miller in those days, but that is a Ben Lexon designed boat. Fantastic. Yes, you asked a question about all the team members still being alive. Yes, they all are, Tom. They were all there except for Phil Smidmore, who wasn't well enough to travel, but it was fantastic being there with the whole crew. I was very privileged to attend the team breakfast, which I sent you some photos of. I was the only person to travel with the crew along the Swan River to the party at Royal Perth Yacht Club. So it was fantastic hanging out with all the guys. I'll send you a few photos of that. And we turned up for the dinner with 400 of our closest friends at the Royal Perth Yacht Club. And what a dinner that was. I said that we might be going to 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think we quite made it till then, but it was a big, big, big night. My personal memory of America's Cup, just quickly, I was actually in Newport, and I went and watched a few of the races. We then, with all of the lay days and the fact that it went 4-3, and with some loss to running out of wind, it went so long, I had to leave early and go to the IMTEC show in Chicago, which is a trade show I was over there for. So we had to leave Newport early. And I remember very clearly on our last day in Newport, I think it was about the 4th race, and I hired mopeds with a couple of mates, and we rode around the mansions of Newport and had an absolute ball because the town was absolutely deserted. We had it to ourselves. And believe it or not, I had dinner last week, and I'll send you a photo, with a guy called Chris Iacono of Solo Marine. I hadn't seen him in 40 years. He was one of those 2 guys that I was riding mopeds with. So the Cup celebration has led to all sorts of anniversaries. Yes, another question. Both Skip Lisserman and Grant Simmer are on my Australian Sailing Board. So how good is that, having 2 crew members from the board actually on my team? Skip's just timed out actually, so he'll be off the board, but he's been a fantastic contributor. What else? Somebody had to go up my hair. Yes, my hair's a bit out of control. It was a bit fuzzy, particularly in those Perth shots. I'll get a haircut next week, I promise. I will look for a few more photos from that fabulous night, which I'll send through to you. I'm sorry it's a bit late. Hopefully you can include it in this week's show, because otherwise the news starting to get a bit old. And I'll just maybe finish up by saying it was, clearly a great day in our history. One of those days that all Australians remember what they were doing when, one of those kind of days. You saw that in the response from our Prime Minister, Bob Hawke, who was so excited about it all. And it was so wonderful 40 years later to be able to celebrate it with all of the crew members there. We had such a great time together. Excuse me, I'm losing my throat here. We had such a great time together, a reunion of old friends. I was very privileged to be in a circle with that, but Ronstam was a sponsor of Australia too back in those days. A lot of those guys of my vintage, we used to sail together and against each other. They ended up on Australia too, and I didn't, but I followed a different path in the industry, and I certainly have no regrets. We just had such a ball. It was so wonderful in so many ways to have all of those parties, all of those functions, and to be able to celebrate what was a magnificent day in our history. Glad to be able to bring a bit of the flavour of it to you. As I said, I'll send a few more photos through, but really enjoyed watching last week's show and seeing the tribute to Australia too. What a moment. See you guys. Talk soon. Bye.
What a nice guy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and the smile brings it home always.
And Alistair's just signed on. He's just, what time is it? And by the way, the times have changed. They've gone on daylight time down there in Australia and New Zealand, so they're an hour closer to us in time. And I'll take this chance just to say to everybody, we're staying on 1300 Pacific. We'll go off daylight time in early November, but we're always going to do this at 13 Pacific, whether it's daylight. And you all have to figure it out, because it just was too confusing when we were trying to do it. But back to Alistair, and thank Gordon Smith, thanking him, and Ed Worley thumbs up. Alistair, you can send us this stuff. And we are going to have Leslie Green on, who was the publicist in Newport in '83, and I've been in touch with on and off ever since. So we're going to have her on. She's promised to come on. But the more of this kind of stuff, I think we can get. So, Alistair, please don't apologize for sending anything ever on this topic. It was really great to have that again. Thank you, sir. And here are some. I didn't put all the pictures in, but here he is on the boat going over to the big dinner. I showed you the dinner photo at the top. So the crew with Alistair. Apparently, Alistair was the only non-crew member aboard, but he's the president of Australian Sailing. So, and there isn't a pink tuck shirt with that bow tie and a tuxedo. He looks.
It's not pink. It's lavender.
Oh, lavender. Lavender. Okay, call it what you want. Looks pink to me, but it is lavender. I guess you're right, Julie, as usual. And you know who that is on the left? Tom Schnackenberg, the Kiwi who designed those sails.
Oh,
and did such a good job improving their spinnakers toward the end that it particularly helped their downwind speed, but he helped them with all that. And that's Damien Fuster on the right with Alistair. There's the entire team. And
what a great picture to have.
It's fabulous. Great memories, great guys. Fabulous effort. We'll run some more. Alistair set some other pictures, and we'll stick those in due course as well. But this one I thought you'd all appreciate. This is in the model room at the Royal Perth Yacht Club, commemorating the '83 match, obviously. And the 7 challengers on the left. Remember, that was the first Louis Vuitton Cup when Bruno Troublé, who was steering France, and he got the wild hair. He got the idea, why don't we turn this into a real regatta with sponsorship?
Right.
Because it was only 13 years before that the New York Yacht Club allowed multiple challengers. It was one challenge against, 3, sometimes 4 defenders racing off, and the competitive balance was always in favor of the defender. But when New York acquiesced and allowed Baron Beek, finally, after he tried for years to get in, and he said, I really wanted to have a runoff against the Aussies or whoever it is, and New York allowed it, and that was in 13 years before, as I say, 1970, and then by 1983 there were fully 7 challengers to only 3 defenders, and the competitive balance had shifted. Plus Bruno Troublé and LV, Louis Vuitton, made that into a real regatta with real race committee,
Yes.
And as before that, I judged in the 1980 Challenger series because they were using local Noel Field, myself, I can't remember who all else, local, we were senior serious judges, and I don't think we made any bad decisions, but it didn't feel right that we were judging challenger selection. Well, not ourselves, but potentially helping to choose the challenger against whom the defender would sail.
Yeah.
But it all worked out. It was fine, and then it became a real regatta, as I said, in 1983. And this plaque at Royal Perth Yacht Club, a photo of which Alistair sent along. Sean Hogue, he says, I think Alistair is trying to distract attention from his haircut. Can't believe that bow tie. Oh, Sean's clever.
And Graham Sweeney, Brits just cannot look at those half holes without crying.
And do you see Alistair's comment above that? You can read that. Thanks, Julie. Did you see it? Yes, it's lavender. I'm not a boring black tie kind of guy. Ted Ryman's, he said it best. Another cool A yet again. That is true. Thank you, Alistair, with the Royal Naval Band playing us out. The walkout music, waltzing. Thank you, Alistair. And send us some more photos. Send us some more memories. And as I say, we'll get Leslie Green on here. Is that loud enough, you think? I just love that music. And we'll do it some more.
Yeah.
Okay, Bravo Zulu, just we're getting toward the end of this somewhat shorter show than these 2-hour shows. Too hard on us old people, Julia. Huh? Try to get these back to an hour and a half or so. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. If you're just joining us, this is show number 652 for Tuesday, the 3rd of October. Hard to believe it's October.
I know.
Welcome to all of you, and Bravo Zulu to the winners of a local regatta, but it's the 505 Worlds 60 entries from fully 8 countries here on San Francisco Bay. Talk about reliably windy and iconically beautiful. There are, if you go on the website, I only put a few shots in here, but there are some fabulous photos by Christophe Favreau from France of the 505 Worlds, the pre-Worlds, which started on the 21st, and then the Worlds, which wrapped up here a couple days ago. I mean, just look at this. And there are just one shot after another from drones. And I don't know if Christophe got in a helicopter. I know it wasn't our friend Chris Ray, because he was up at the Stag Cruise in one of my shows playing a significant role. And I talked to him this morning, and I talked to the PRO, John Siegel, this morning. And I also talked to the winner this morning, trying to dig some information up, because some of the press reporting was not all that, shall we say, thorough. But bravo Zulu to all involved. John Siegel, the PRO, he's going to give us a piece of info here that I think you will all find interesting. I'll give it to you from him. Fog Machine saying Mike and Adam. Yeah, Mike and Adam needed redress both races one day after getting rammed pre-start to the point they were taking on water. You talk about gel coat and a bit of a fiberglass repair job. Indeed. They did, and we'll talk about that in a sec too. Maybe not, that's not so interesting. But watch this. You remember we talked about the Rabbit start? Well, here it is. You can see the Rabbit coming in on port tack, or the Pathfinder, and then there is the chase boat that follows. Now watch the near collision right here, because the boats are supposed to keep clear, but of course they want to start as soon as possible right behind that rib. They can't pass between the rib and the sailboat, the Pathfinder or the Rabbit. And there they are. That's how a Rabbit start or gate start works. Boats on starboard tack crossing just astern of the Pathfinder, and that boat is called the gate launch. PRO John Siegel told me this morning. And you got to keep clear of it. And they had a hell of a time even getting this gate start off, depending upon the tide, if it's flooding or ebbing and what's going on. But what a fabulous video of this gate start. I think Chris Ray actually took this. This was early in the regatta, so before Steve Ray, as we call him, before Chris had gone up to the Stag Cruise. You see the Golden Gate Bridge, upper left, and nice work. And I think as good a video as I've ever seen, showing a Rabbit.
Yes, I've never seen one like that. Well, not that I should have, but necessarily, but.
Yeah, but you see most everything.
I know.
You know a lot and have seen a lot. Wasn't that cool?
Yes.
So thank you, Chris Ray, who sent me that video this morning. And as I said, Christophe Favreau from France, with a lot of other, and I'm only going to run a couple others, but just fabulous pictures in this reliably windy
and iconically beautiful.
Dare we repeat, the city in the background, and the yacht club over is, in fact, that's the city front. The yacht club is way off to the right out of that shot. That's Fort Mason there on the right. Here are the final results. Mike Martin and Adam Lowry winning. And it came down to the last race, and Mike asked me to give credit to the runners-up who were his training partners, Eric Anderson and Nick Baird. And the two of them, I mean, we'd go over to the club, Julia, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, and there were those two, joined eventually by more and more boats out training for this regatta intensively. It's a very serious group, and a lot of great sailors in this fleet of 60 from 8 countries. And Mike has won this regatta once, Mike Martin has won it once, he tells me, as the crew. I thought he even won it more times than that, crewing for Howie Hamlin, who's, of course, won it a few times from Newport Harbor Yacht Club. And 4 times now, as skipper, that is, Mike Martin, and his crew, Adam Lowry, has won it the last 3 times with Mike Martin. They were Yachtsmen of the Year, Rolex Yachtsman of the Year here in the U.S. a couple or 3 years ago now, I don't remember. Now, I thought this would make Alistair Murray happy if I put this photo of the winners.
With Ronstadt.
Yep, Mike and Adam, sponsored by Ronstadt, who've been a big supporter of this class over the longer haul. World champs again, Mike Martin, Adam Lowry, Bravo Zulu, the trophy Prizo at the St. Francis Yacht Club Sunday afternoon. 1 win as crew, 4 as skipper, Adam 3 times as crew, Bravo Zulu to them.
They both look so healthy.
Well, they're fit. I mean, you know, they're
Yeah.
are they in their 50s yet? Late 40s, 50s? I don't know. But, you know, Adam is a great big. You need a guy who's tall on the wire.
Yeah.
I had lunch with him the other day, just coincidentally. We were both sitting at the bar. I was over there not to have, well, we both ended up having a bite together. It was good to catch up. Sacrificial rabbit, Sean Hogan is asking. I'm reading again from the bottom. It's easier for me here on the screens. Is the rabbit also a competitor? Yes, Gordon, I believe the rabbit normally is also a competitor. You want a boat that's pretty wicked up. If you don't have a boat that's fast and capable on port tack, and they get slower or they get off, you know, the proper upwind angle, the boats that pass later, or vice versa, if they're crap at the beginning and then they get better at the end, the boats that start. So I don't, there's a formula for who ends up being that boat. Somebody on here will know. If John Siegel's watching, the PRO, he'll know. Yes, Gordon, normally the boat that finished 10th. Okay, there it is. Alistair Murray's got it, as usual. The boat that finished 10th in the previous race. I wonder if people work hard not to finish 10th so they don't have to be the rabbit. Interesting.
Unless they've already served.
You are held to port tack for a specified time before you are released to tack to starboard, but you do get 1 length jump on every. Well, that's true. They're passing ahead of the entire fleet. The rabbit is the third place boat from the previous race. I'm not sure how they choose the rabbit for race 1. Okay, interesting, Steve Gruber. So whether it's the 3rd or the 10th or something else, people. Sacrificial rabbit is the rabbit boat in a gate start once they had to abandon. Alistair said, was the rabbit in a gate start once they had to abandon and restart when I nearly T-boned a starboard tacker who got ahead of himself. Yeah, okay, Gordon Smith liked that too. Thanks, Gordon. Mark Curtis, that's how we started our Thursday night series races in our harbor, with maybe a total of 4 to 6 boats racing. Never knew why they were called a rabbit or gate start. Okay, anybody else know that? David James wondering if it is an advantage. Well, if the breeze goes right, if there's more pressure on the right, or it goes right and you're out on the right, that's going to be good. But conversely, you're not going to be too happy if it goes the other way. Josh Tozo is on in Buzzards Bay Regatta with 75 Vanguard 15s. We used to use the 7th place boat in the race before as the rabbit. Mike's sister used, I guess he means Mike Martin, used to live in White Bear Lake. I had him take our Opti sailors when he visited, talk to our Opti sailors when he visited here once. It's small world, small sailing world, great sailing world. Flying to David James. Yes, James, a small advantage unless he shifts to the left during the sequence. Great stuff. Very informative. Thanks, everybody, especially our Fozy and the commenters, and Chris Ray for that interesting video. See, Ray. Gets us to the last leg, and I actually have 2 videos in the last leg because I just think they're both of them so interesting and relevant. Didn't want to wait till Friday to air them. The first is from Pip Hare, who is getting ready for her Big Amoka performance here coming up this fall and next year. And she's so much fun. We haven't checked in with her in a while. Here's a 2.5, 3 minute video that I think all of us will enjoy.
It's Friday evening, the 29th of September, and I got Nick on board with me. And we're heading out for a weekend training. It's just the most incredible evening to be out here. We've got quite a big job list. We're heading west. We're going to try and find some breeze, put a few things to the test, and then we've got some technical things to test while we're out. So final checks on water makers. We need to check for a load of leaks. We've got to test our new foil line. So there's quite a bit to do, but most importantly, it's just time for us to spend together sailing in prep for the TJB. So there's a really bright moon tonight. It's huge. It's dawn in the English Channel and the breeze is filled in from the south as expected. We're heading towards Ushant. I'm on a little bit of a go slow at the moment because I had to work my way around this cable layer. It's a fantastic morning and very much looking forward to what the day holds for us. We are about 18 hours into our training session. We headed west down the channel looking to find some wind. Kind of all of a sudden we found it. Over 30 knots. It's actually not too bad. The sea state's not too bad. So important to hold on though. No way on earth you want to be letting go. It's the first time you've been that fast in this boat, yeah?
Definitely the first time we've really wound it up. Yeah, lively.
So you can manage a whole Atlantic like this?
What have we got, 20 days? Not 20 days if we do this the whole way.
We've been going hell for leather for about half an hour now. So I've come up forward into the bow looking for leaks, just looking at all of the structure around foil cases, making sure everything's good. You can see it's head protection now when you're down below. What a difference a day made. Who would have thought yesterday we were hooning around doing 30 knots and today we're kind of out here looking for wind, but it's great to be able to use everything. This is the first time my spinnaker Bertha has been out this year. There were no moths inside, so that's a good thing. Nick and I are just going to practice the basic manoeuvres with the spinnaker and actually just kind of work out how it interacts with our foils. But it's an absolutely awesome day out here. It's Monday morning. I'm just coming back into pool. You can see the Barfleur leaving for Cherbourg behind me. And here are the entrance buoys up ahead. The wind died about 5 o'clock this morning, but it's been a super productive weekend. We've done 2-3 full nights out here. A whole range of conditions from 25 knots to less than 5. Tried lots of sail configurations. We've made lots of technical checks. I'm coming back in with a big job list for the team who are waiting on the dock for me, but that's how it works. And we're just getting closer and closer to that amazing feeling of being able to go out and know everything is as good as it could be.
You know, it's just amazing, our sport. We go on this show, we go from ILCAs to IODs to IMOCAs to whatever else we've been, the Sail GP boats, and now, you know, she's getting ready for the TJV. And
she is wonderful.
She is wonderful, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pip Hare, getting ready for the Transjacques Vabre. We'll cover that as usual. Finally, this video, talk about variety in our sport. From the Voile de Saint-Tropez, talk about fantastic events and venues. Now a 2-week event.
Nous allons procéder maintenant à la bénédiction des bateaux et des équipages, afin que tous ceux qui seront à bord bénéficient de sa protection et parviennent sains et saufs au port désiré par Jésus-Christ notre Seigneur. Amen. Et que le Dieu Tout-Puissant vous bénisse, le Père, le Fils et le Saint-Esprit. Amen. Et bon vent à tous.
Julia, we should be there.
Oh, I know.
Huh? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
What a fabulous event. And Phil Walker telling me that it's now back to 1 week. They were 2 weeks for what? A couple of years, Phil? A couple, 3 years? I didn't know they'd back to 1 week. So that's interesting, kind of cool. That they must, they had the big crash. And I think they must have figured they've resolved that. Maybe the numbers are down. I don't know. Phil, do you have an answer on that? But what a fabulous event. Bravo Zulu to them. And we will we'll follow that. That was a video from yesterday. Posted, yesterday. The video was posted yesterday morning, so maybe it's even from, I think it was day 4. So maybe it's from Monday. I don't know. We'll follow it up.
Yeah.
Have more, no doubt, on Friday. You were saying?
No, I was just thinking about, I was there during that week once, staying at a friend's house in Lazy Sombra.
I believe it. You've been everywhere.
Oh, no.
One time or another. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. We have 3. We got to have. I've been criticized for not having funnies at the end of the show, Julia.
Well, we need some new sources.
Oh, we got sources. I got plenty of stuff coming in. This from Sweeney. I can't sleep. I've it's kind of a dumb one, but it's fun. I can't sleep. I've indigestion from eating all them fire ants before bed. You'd better take. That's terrible.
It's wonderful. I love that.
Andrew, Phil Walker is saying, back on that for a moment, on Saint-Tropez. He says, Andrew's here. Andrew's always at the cool events.
Always.
So Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin is here, probably knows more. We'll ask Andrew next time I talk to him or see him. So thank you, Graham Sweeney, for this. Julia, get your finger ready.
All right.
This came also from Graham. Viagra. It won't make you James Bond, but it will make you Roger Moore. You know the expression Roger. That's the Brits, the Commonwealth use Roger for.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yes. Well, that's.
I've been sheltered.
You have. Won't make you James Bond, but it'll make you Roger Moore. I had lunch several times with Roger Moore. That was good fun. Mm-hmm. He was a good friend of His Majesty King Constantine. And that was good fun. Graham Sweeney sent that one as well. And since we are the drinking show with a sailing habit, we have to wrap up with this one, which comes from Ed Worley. Wine is cheaper than Botox and paralyzes more muscles. Good one, Ed. Thank you very much, which gets us to the finish line. Thank goodness. Just Yell. I wonder if that is not Yell Scotland. That is our Yellow Pages in this. Which, does anyone have Yellow Pages anymore? You have Yellow Pages upstairs?
Yeah. I think
do?
so. They're really skinny.
Do they still drop them off on the front porch free of charge once a year or something?
I don't know how it arrives, but I have one landline, so they probably do that for
yeah, maybe you'd get one, but I haven't cracked open a Yellow Pages with all the advertising.
Oh, no, they're really skinny now.
Are they? I believe it. Just Yell for the Yellow Page. It says the Bermuda. Did we decide that was a Bermuda boat? It is BER on the mainsail, but I didn't know.
Bermuda Yellow Pages.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was taken in Bermuda. It must have been. Just as John Emmett said at the top of the show, and Julia likes to remind you.
Please like, follow, and share.
Exactly. And as I like to remind you, comments are welcome. Even if you're watching this in replay, we leave that possible. By the way, Julia, I was thinking one thing we might do. And if anybody has any technical ideas on how to do this, it would be fun if the FOSI could real time during the show, not only comment as we have now.
Right.
But I wonder if there was a way for them to post photos onto something that I could then grab and stick in the show. And it's got to be alive. It'd have to be like opening up a Zoom page that people could share, do their screen sharing to, and then I could grab a screen grab of the Zoom page for whatever they are screen sharing to.
Does the new Vision program from Apple do that?
No, not really. Not really. But if anybody has an idea on what would be the simplest way to do that, I'll think about that. I think it'd be fun if the various FOSI during the show could say, hey, I got a picture of this. Why don't you? And we might not use it. We might use it. We might not. but at least have the facility for you to throw something up that I can see over here on one of the other screens and plug it in if necessary. We really appreciate those of you who are patrons via Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Give us $1 or $2 or $5 or something a month to help keep us on the air, because this is viewer supported media, like increasingly so much media is today.
Yes.
It's like somebody called me the other day up at the Stag Cruise. They said, you know, OnlyFans, these porn channels where people go on and they do porn, live porn.
Yeah.
They produce it themselves and they put it on one of these OnlyFans or something, one or two. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. So, but these kids are making heaps of money. Of course, they're ruining their reputations because they're now that once they appear nude on a video on the internet, it's there for forever.
Forever.
They called me the fans only or of sailing, because we're media supported. You know, we don't charge you a fee like they do to get on. Okay. In any event, thank you to all of those who gave us video, audio, and images for today's show. Julia, final thoughts?
No. I love the sort of end of season, beginning of season look around the world.
Yeah, exactly. As we're switching from summer to fall to winter here and vice versa down under in the Southern Hemisphere for Ted and the gang in Australia, New Zealand, the gang in South America.
Right.
Graham Sweeney saying, but a Dropbox would help share the image. Yeah, it's got to be live. What I have to do probably is put up a Zoom so that I can see the Zoom windows and I can see one of you sharing the image, and then I can just cut to that. If I have to go look in a Dropbox and download it from somewhere or go look at email, I'm enough of a one-armed paper hanger as it is. Graham Sweeney saying you might not be able to control the comment then. Well, yeah, I don't have to cut to it if it's something crutonic. But I think you all would probably help with that, as all of these people did with today's show. By the way, just here's an interesting note. The America's Cup 37, their YouTube channel, and now I'm finally getting around to it, their YouTube channel is scheduled, as you can see here, to start airing the racing from here in San Francisco in AC 34. Races 1 and 2 are going to be aired on, they own the content, and they're going to air this stuff on YouTube starting tomorrow at 0100 our time. So you can add your 9 hours, 7 hours to that to get UTC and 9 hours to that to get CET. But I assume once it's up there, then you'll be able to watch those races again. So that means that entire series that ended on the 25th, it was the September 25th from memory, in 2013, but they're going to start I guess that's a little commentary on how little is going on in the real America's Cup right now. But interesting note nonetheless. Reminder that James will be with us on Friday, the esteemed World Match Racing Tour Executive Director, our longtime friend and regular, who's been on the show, not for a while, but a regular presence.
He's got a good painting behind him, too.
That was I'd not seen that. You know, I went online looking for a picture of him, and a lot of Sailing Illustrated cover shots of him show up because he's been on the show.
Right.
Nice shot. James will be with us, and hopefully with a sailor or two sitting either side of him from Bermuda on Friday. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Julia. We'll hope to see you on Friday. Have a great rest of your week, and in the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
Indeed.
Ciao for now.
To all.